time to get in the huddle with your host, Charles Prodigy Ritchie, here on the Meta Steel Podcast.
This thing belongs to Mr. Rooney, belongs here, and let's see if we can bring this damn thing back here next year, along with the Super Bowl. Here we go.
The game is over. The Pittsburgh Steelers did it the hard way.
With the 10th pick in the 2019 NFL Draft, the Pittsburgh Steelers select Devin Bush, linebacker, Michigan.
And good morning, everybody. Welcome to this very special edition Game Day Morning Podcast here of the Meta Steel Podcast. As we are less than 10 hours away from the Steelers getting ready to open up their season on the road. Granted, they'll have to be on the road against New England to start this one off, the season opener, as everyone is aware. Got a lot of stuff to get into. Definitely a lot of crazy stuff went down late yesterday afternoon after starting off to a raucous month and a half. More in particular with former Steeler wide receiver Antonio Brown. Right now, as his falling out with the Oakland Raiders, after posting up his GM Mike Mayock's written letter to fine him, and of course, throughout this time, Antonio Brown, who has right now for the moment being fined over $215,000 for conduct detrimental to the team. They're able to void out $29.125 million worth of his guaranteed money in his contract, and that they were going to pay him week to week. He apparently was not pleased with that, so he asked for his release, got it, and now he signed with the Patriots. That was tweeted out yesterday from Breaking News, according to ESPN's Adam Schefter. He can be followed at Adam Schefter, as he has reached a one-year deal worth up to $15 million, which includes a $9 million sign bonus per source. The only good news for the time being for right now is that he will not have to be on the roster of the Patriots officially until Monday. So he will not be eligible to play in tonight's game in the Sunday night opener against the Patriots, which I could say for the least is a very good news for right now at the moment. But again, Steelers will not have to worry about him for right now. But this season, what does it all mean? Are they now the shoo-in favorites to win the Super Bowl? We shall find out about that. But again, if you want to feel free to be part of this podcast, number to be reached is 312-209-2232. Again, that number is 312-209-2232. You can also follow me on Twitter at Prodigy Rich. You can also check me out streaming live on Instagram, Meta Steel Nation. Then you can check out my YouTube channel, Meta Steel Podcast. So let's go ahead and get ready to get into the official injury report for today's game. As it was reported throughout the week earlier by Missy Matthews, Steelers only have one guy technically on the injury report, and that was, of course, free safety Sean Davis right now, who's been battling with an ankle injury pretty much all throughout this offseason, including through camp. So for right now, it looks like you're going to be having right now Cam Cal at this point in time, who's going to be starting in his place, who'll get his very first crack as far as in the NFL starting. It'll be none other than Cameron Kelly. So like I said, that'd be an interesting move to see what happens. How is he able to do with things at that point in time? And right now, too, also, it was added here late last night. I just noticed it this morning, too. Mark Barron has been put on the injury report, but I don't think it's anything to do with injury. It has been ruled as a coach's decision. So guess what? It looks like it's to be Devin Bush, first round draft pick, going to get his very first start tonight going up against Tom Brady and the Patriots. So we'll find out how that down plays for right now at that point in time. But let's see. I definitely feel like right now, what way to get your debut. A lot of people are anticipating this guy to be ready. I mean, when you got all the potential, like how he's been throughout in college and stuff, it's definitely been a real interesting story with this guy when you look at it. And that's what I look at. I mean, this guy is definitely, I feel like, has got the hunger, the determination, the attitude, the passion to play in the NFL at that inside linebacker position. The Steelers, where they vested, I mean, trading up, I mean, about 10 spots for. I mean, this is what it's all about, to make your name right now and to make it a real good, noble debut at this point in time. But let's see how that translates into Sunday night. Then we also look at the other side of the ball as far as like the Patriots injury report too. Let's take a look. For right now, this is who they got on here. The Patriots, they got defensive back Obi Melifonwu, tight end Matt Lacoste, and of course wide receiver Demaryius Thomas are all being listed as questionable going into tonight's matchup. I think the biggest one to note on there is going to be probably Matt Lacoste. I mean, this is a guy who you pretty much drafted to be Gronkowski's replacement here. And I'll be real interested to see like what he's able to do. As far as like if he's gonna be able to play tonight for right now. But again, I mean, this is right now, as you know, Bill Belichick. He is looking at from a whole lot of perspective. Excuse me, no, he's not been drafted. Excuse me. So my bad. Cross that. This is he's been in the league since 2015, former Giant and Broncos. So more than likely he's gonna be getting his game in tonight. We shall find out. But right now, got one person joining me. Just want to say good morning. Thank you very much, Terrell. Hope you're having a great game day morning as we get ready to countdown for tonight. I know it's been a little bit of a hectic debut, to say the least, more particularly with Antonio Brown. Like I said, now finding out he was going to be a Patriot. I'm not going to lie to you guys. Let me just say this. My last closing thought before we get on with everything else here. I really felt with all the stuff that went down, John Gruden has clearly lost touch with his players, if you ask me. I mean, for this generation. Still a guy who likes coaching, but I'm almost starting to wonder if it's more at a younger level. Because the thing is, when you come in there and you look at the way Belichick does things, and of course a guy like Mike Tomlin too in particular, there's no doubt. I mean, it's just more than just coaching a guy at a skill level. It's also about just make sure you're just bringing out the very best and looking out for a person's well-being. For right now, I mean, Antonio Brown, I mean, listen, I mean, he's pretty much, I mean, since then, since all that stuff, I mean, went down. I mean, when you look back at the history of what the Steelers did with the Raiders, I mean, let's not forget. I mean, within the last 2 years, Raiders traded a third-round pick to the Steelers for Martavis Bryant and a third and a fifth-round pick last year for Antonio Brown. I mean, within a span of like over a year, basically. So, I mean, that's basically what you get right there at that point in time. I definitely feel like right now, when you look at it, definitely going to be some high alert concerns right there as far as this season, what they're going to do, how much does that mean as far as being the favorites in the AFC. But then again, I mean, who are the other teams that could probably go up against them? I mean, a lot of people are probably still looking at the Kansas City Chiefs right now, Patrick Mahomes and that offense. And then you also got right now, too, who actually reunited with his former coach right now as you look at it right now, who's reunited with him, I'm talking about none other than LaShawn McCoy, who actually played for Andy Reid back when he was a Philadelphia Eagle. Never got a chance to play with his Kansas City Chief until now. I mean, he spent like the first 6 seasons of his career in Philadelphia before playing 4 consecutive years with the Buffalo Bills, and where he did have a playoff appearance with them. I mean, overall in his career, he's had at least at least 4 playoff appearances so far total in his career. So, I mean, you probably still think like the Chiefs, they got like something brewing up here for this season with everything that's been going down. But let's just find out about that later on. But yeah, I mean, I don't really see anyone coming out in the AFC South, to be honest with you, who's going to be able to stop this team. Granted, I'm not sure if it's going to be the Steelers right now. But, I mean, you definitely got a lot of stuff on this right here. And you look at everything, all the health they got with their defense. And you just add a guy like Antonio Brown's potential right now. And a lot of people definitely feel like a lot of NFL owners, this was a plot to want to stage his exit to leave the Raiders. And I could definitely see that. But as far as right now, let's get ready to move on to some other newsworthy stuff throughout this time as we get into it here on the Men of Steel podcast. Also, too, it was also reported by Steelers beat reporter as we take a look at it, Dale Lally of DK Pittsburgh Sports. He also noted that Jai Holton was added to their 53-man roster, and they released Tuzar Skipper to make room for him. Holton was on the practice squad. Skipper mostly goes to the practice squad after he clears waivers on that. And I think that was a little bit of a surprise right there. I mean, a guy like Tuzar Skipper, who had like about 5 sacks throughout the preseason, accounted for at least a quarter of the Steelers' sack production here throughout this preseason. I mean, he was a very valued, undrafted draft pick at that point in time. But you really start to think right now, I mean, what they're going to look at, I mean, at that point in time. I mean, so the main thing is, too, I want to point out here is that the Steelers feel pretty confident about Ola Adeni's knee at that point in time. I mean, so far he hasn't missed any practices. According to that has been one big thing when we look at it. And that was another reason why. And I guess the Steelers have enough confidence that things are going to work its way out with Ola Adeni. And, why is it necessary to keep a guy like here on the roster like a Skipper? So it's like, unfortunately, someone's got to take the axe temporarily going down to the practice squad. But Holton right now, who's originally signed with the Steelers, who came from the Raiders as following the 2016 NFL draft. He was another guy that went undrafted, spent time on the Raiders' active roster and practice squad. He had 11 receptions with the Raiders for 252 yards and 3 touchdowns, and he also had 6 carries for 43 yards. He played college football at the University of Cincinnati, where he caught 46 passes for 892 yards, 10 touchdowns in his 2 years. He also added 45 kickoff returns for 902 yards. And one of the biggest things, too, that was also noticed, he was also receiving a lot of reps with Ben Roethlisberger catching some balls. So that was one thing that was noticeable. That was on Friday night. So if anything, there was a sign right there where they were going to probably have him come on to the roster. It was definitely because of that. I guess they saw something a little bit in him where they had confidence where they could get this thing going here. And they feel like they could definitely roll with this guy for, on their roster. And more so notably on special teams. So he's supposed to help out on special teams more in particular. I want to say more so on the kick returns. I mean, of course, you got Ryan Switzer on there. But I'm not going to lie to you right now. I definitely feel like when we look at it, that's definitely one thing I feel like the Steelers would have been struggling in that category. I mean, let's face facts. I mean, ever since we did have Antonio Brown, when he started off his career, who went as an undrafted sixth-round pick. Remember, he played with a chip on his shoulder. He started off on special teams. He was dynamic for like the first 6 years of his career, where he was playing on that, and then he slowly transitioned away from that. I mean, that's one special characteristic trait I'm gonna miss about his skill level when we think about it. But again, I think definitely the keys for victory here is we are definitely here on the opening drive as we go into tonight's contest. I definitely pulled the question about a couple of days ago, late Thursday night, and I was asking people, like, what do you think is going to be the biggest key for Steelers victory? Is it going to be more defensive takeaways in this contest, or is it going to be more of a well-balanced attack? And of course, we have like a whopping results. We took a look at it at that point in time. It was definitely going to be the picks for Tom Brady. I mean, obviously for a guy who hasn't thrown a pick in the longest time here against the Steelers. I mean, when you look at it, and yeah, I mean, right now we had like about 93 votes total, and the whopping result is that it is 83-10 in favor of the defensive takeaways, 10 votes for balance on the offense. I want to say thank you for those of you taking the time to vote on that. I hope everyone's having a good game day morning. Feel free to share me your game day plans, where you guys will be watching the game at. You're gonna be watching with family, friends at Pertz's house. What Steeler bar? Anyone in this group or these fans, Steeler Nation, is anyone going to the game in Foxborough in New England? So I'd definitely like to hear your thoughts later on as we move things along here throughout this very special edition here on the Man of Steel podcast. Again, the number to be reached is 312-209-2232. Again, that number to be reached is 312-209-2232. My social media feed, you can follow me on Twitter at Project Richie. Then you also check me out on Instagram, Men of Steel Nation, and feel free to check out my YouTube channel. Like I said, Men of Steel podcast, as we look at it at that point in time. But for right now, let's get ready to go into like fair or foul here to wrap things up here momentarily. And right now, I mean, with that news being said, do you guys see the Patriots as definitely right now the hands down favorite to win the Super Bowl this year? Now that they got former receiver Antonio Brown to add to the mix, I'm gonna have to just say fair for right now. I mean, clearly they're looking great on paper. I definitely feel like with a guy like Antonio Brown and Brady and Belichick, listen, I mean, he's got to be on his very last chance right now. If he messes this up, this could definitely spell the end for like his trust as far as like playing with another professional football club or franchise. I mean, this guy has been clearly like labeled as a mess here throughout his career. I mean, as of lately, for all the social media rants, when we look at it, I definitely feel like right now it's definitely what can you say? You acquire a talent like that, and of course, I mean, he's definitely had falling out with two great organizations. One which was pretty much over before it got started, but I definitely gotta feel like Belichick has a way with getting to guys doing things the Patriot way at the end of the day. Unfortunately, as that may sound. But I mean, for right now, I'm gonna have to say fair on that one to prove otherwise. I mean, of course, as I always say, there's one thing for sure, there's nothing for sure. and he's still got to prove he can make it throughout the season. But I think he's going to be somewhat harnessed throughout this season. The only question is if the Steelers are able to get back to the playoffs this year and they're able to go deep, do they encounter them along the way and head-to-head where you have to deal with a guy like Antonio Brown, if he's healthy, granted, and everything, and his work ethic and his contribution with the Patriots is going to be all out there. So, I mean, it's just pretty much like a welcome to the party for right now, I guess you could say. Let's also get into fair foul topic number 2. With Tuzar Skipper getting downgraded to the practice squad, Steelers at some point will release him. He will get claimed off waivers by another club. I'm going to have to say foul on that one for right now. I mean, Tuzar Skipper, I mean, obviously, you know, someone had to make room. I think the Steelers definitely felt like desperation where they needed like more guys on special teams, guys that could help out in that regard. When we look at it, I definitely feel like that the Steelers right now. I mean that's more the high pressing need at this point in time. I just feel like right now they just they got enough confidence in their defense. I think they're cool with the fact that they could like do without one guy going into this matchup. But I mean, at the same time too, I definitely feel like it's like they got enough depth. They got enough guys that are going to be willing to contribute here, and they could get away with it. And of course, I mean, this is a Mike Tomlin, and I'm sure Dick LeBeau and Terrell Austin move collectively as a group. I mean, when you overall look at this thing, and right now, let's just find out how that what that spells later on for tonight or throughout the season. Because the only thing is with Ola Adeni, I mean, no offense, I mean he's had the knee injury and then he had some other injury. I forget what was about last year, where he didn't start or he didn't play until that game in December, the very first game in December. And that was week number 13 against the Chargers. And then didn't hear from him again throughout the season. So I definitely feel like right now, yeah, I mean, we'll see about that one. I definitely, until proven otherwise, I think Ola Adeni, so far, he has been a guy that's been inconsistent with staying healthy. Decent prospect. Had a lot of comparisons to James Harrison as far as like was explosive off his flashiness, finishing tackles, all the good stuff that Mike Tomlin liked about him. But I have by hesitation for right now as far as with him. Let's also go to fair foul topic number 3. Keys to being the Patriots will be weighing the turnover ratio. I'm going to have to say fair on that one as well, because when you also look at it too, I mean, Ben Roethlisberger has a tendency to throw turnovers at crucial situations. I mean, when you really think about it and what he's been able to do in his career, I mean, against the Patriots. But I mean, the only thing is, I mean, funny thing is, last 2 games, they did not even have to win the turnover ratio when his team has beaten the Patriots. I mean, when you really look at it, I mean, at that point in time, I mean, he's definitely had a pretty good, strong showing of his own throughout his career. I mean, when you look at, I mean, for overall what he's been able to do, I mean, with that point in time in his career, I mean, he's overall, Ben Roethlisberger in the regular season has 3 interceptions. I mean, when you look at it in 3 regular season appearances, 1 going down to Foxborough. But as far as like in the playoffs, he had 1. So he has a total of 4 interceptions versus Tom Brady's 0. So I definitely feel like that's got to be very key right there. I mean, in that situation, I'm just still a little adamant. I mean, how much is a guy like Sean Davis? I mean, with his ankle injury, how much are they going to be feeling his loss? Because Sean Davis has still been a pretty darn good player for the Steelers, who's helped out on this defense, if you ask me, and could definitely be a no-doubt guy who could show up and could ball and play some legitimate defense. I just feel for right now, what we got to look at here is where do we start to think right now is like how the Steelers right now, because one of the comments that was going into this game too, let's not forget. I mean, both Marquise Pouncey and David DeCastro, their mentality is thinking just they're going to be anticipating watching the Patriots celebrate their 6th Super Bowl, raising the banner, celebrating with their fans, and that's going to motivate them for next year to want to go do the same thing in Pittsburgh. It takes a whole lot doing that. So that's going to be my last thing for fair or foul. That's going to be the thing that'll whet their appetite for next year, doing the same thing in Heinz Field. I'm going to have to say foul for that one for right now. I mean, until you take it one game at a time, obviously beating the Patriots is definitely going to be a great start, but it's not always going to be the only thing, too, along the way. Remember, I mean, when we go into this season, too, by the way, I mean, when you look at the overall Steelers' strength of schedule for this year, remember, I mean, there's some stuff we have to take a look at right now as far as going into this game for tonight. When we look at, because remember, I mean, they got decent records against the AFC East. I mean, granted, not so much against Tom Brady and the Patriots. 438. I mean, they got, right now, they're facing a strength schedule of 438 against the AFC East. NFC West, 469 and 46 and 48. And what I mean by that, too, because remember, the Jets, that's one example right there. How much is they're going to be ready for the New York Jets with Le'Veon Bell if he's able to make it healthy, too. Remember, Mike Tomlin's overall career going in the Meadowlands against the Jets more particularly, he is 1-2. So that's one thing to pay attention right there. I mean, that's got a thing, I think, right there. If I'm going to take another team beside the Patriots, it'll be going to the Jets in the Meadowlands. And as far as your concerns with the NFC West, lifetime, the Steelers are 5-5 in San Francisco. The only thing is they're 0-1 with Mike Tomlin in his overall coaching career. I remember that's when they lost to Jim Harbaugh and the 49ers back in 2011. And that was the following week, about 10 days after, when Ben Roethlisberger got banged up against the Browns. So those are one key things to do. Then also you got to take care of like the Seattle Seahawks for your home opener. This is not going to be an easy month of start. I mean, granted, the Steelers shut out the Seahawks back-to-back in 2007 and 2011, 21-0 and 24-0 would combine 45-0, 45-point differential, 2 shutouts. I don't anticipate that to be happening again. Remember, that last one was definitely pre-Russell Wilson era. He didn't come into the league about a year later. So, if anything, I'm not looking past anyone. Then you still got to contend with the Los Angeles Rams, another team. Last time when you're at home in Pittsburgh, shut them out, 27-0. I doubt that's going to be the same result again. But let's find out how the season goes. There's got to be a lot more ground to cover as we move things along throughout the season. So that's going to call it a close to this edition of the Man of Steel podcast. I want to just say thank you for those of you who's taking the time to join me on this very special edition podcast. Again, you can always catch me normally Mondays and Wednesdays at 6:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. Twitter, I can be followed at Praj Richie. Check out my Instagram page, Man of Steel Nation, and of course my YouTube channel, Man of Steel Podcast. And I definitely feel like the key to victory, like I said, weighing the total ratio by creating more takeaways. Definitely want to have a balanced attack on offense. And then I definitely feel like last but not least, it's going to have to be getting in Brady's face, harassing him, getting a multitude of sacks, and we'll see what happens. But as I always leave you, here we go, Steelers. Here we go. I gone.